Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we last left Jeb in orbit. Well, the clone of Jeb anyway. But we're gonna go get him. But first, we're gonna hop into mission control here, because I just noticed this contract. Test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbal. Now we've already got one of these on Jeb's craft. We need to be within 1 kilometer to 4 kilometers above the surface. Okay. And our speed needs to be going 160 to 250 meters per second. Now, I usually deploy that parachute earlier than this, but I think this is doable. I'm pretty sure this would be completely fine. So we're just going to have to remember that we need to activate this part in this particular manner, but we'll go ahead and grab this. It's a pretty sizable advance, almost the entire value of the rocket that we're currently using, and the completion is quite good. So yeah, we'll go ahead and accept that. And then we'll hop over to the tracking station and go catch up with Jeb. So what have you been up to, Jeb? Well, he's mostly just been hanging around. That's nice. We do have a materials study here that we have not done. I think I'm going to hold off on that. And of course, Jeb doesn't have the ability to hold retrograde. So this could be interesting, but we have a lot in terms of our liquid fuel here. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and drop a maneuver node right about here with nothing in it, just as a marker. And we are going to warp ahead a little bit and see if we can locate ourselves any fancy science. Okay, that's grasslands. I'm not entirely sure why it auto-warped up, or auto-stopped the warp there, but okay. Oh yeah, that's how X-Science works. I wish it only worked if there was a new science that was available. Of course, maybe it's seeing this material study. I bet that's what it is. I bet it's just seeing that material study. But I think we're better off doing this in high flight, is my guess. So for now, we're just going to continue warping forward. This doesn't look like it's anything particularly new. Highlands, grasslands. Yeah, it all seems fine. But let's just make absolutely sure here. Just keep that warp a-going. In fact, I'm going to not stop the warp right now, and we'll just keep a manual eye on it. No changes so far. Yeah, this seems completely okay. So we'll just give him this quick experience. This doesn't give him XP, but we can pretend it does. And we can say that this is good. So we now know that there is no extra science to grab in orbit here. We will grab this material study eventually, for sure. But let's go ahead and orient ourselves retrograde. Or approximately retrograde. And actually we're past the periapsis here, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and do a retrograde burn somewhere around here, and that'll drop our periapsis down to, say, let's target 20 kilometers and see how that feels. Actually, I'm going to go for 25 since Jeb can't hold retrograde. Okay, so this is a 4-second burn. We will align for it. There we go. No point in warping to maneuver right now, of course. So we want to burn this at T minus 2 seconds, since it is a 4-second burn. We, of course, want 2 seconds on either side of the marker. So we'll warp forward a little bit here. And we want to burn this right now. Good enough. Okay. There we go. That'll do. So we will re-enter like this, and we've got a lot of fuel to burn off speed if necessary. I don't want to drop this, and we have to remember to stage this parachute correctly. To that end, I'm going to pin open our contracts here so that we can see when all of these are functional. Excellent. Of course, we're not going to be entering the atmosphere for a little while here. We're pretty high up. So we will go ahead and warp towards the atmosphere. Still going to be a bit. There we go. Now we're in the atmosphere. We'll just go ahead and orient ourselves retrograde before the atmospheric forces become too high. And this is going to be real interesting to see how good I am at holding this. Answer, not very. But that's why we're getting Jeb this XP. Once we have two-seaters, I think we can send up multiple pilots and use the higher XP one to farm XP for the lower XP one. Never really needed to do that. Valentina and Jeb were usually enough for me. We'll see. But this should get Jeb his fancy promotion. I hope. I really, really hope. So you can see here our apoapsis is indeed dropping, as is our periapsis. And we're just going to hold this retrograde position. I am going to physics warp us a little bit here, even though that is dangerous. Thanks, camera. I don't want to look at the stars right now. Okay, I am definitely not going to physics warp anymore. I did not like how that rotation felt. Excellent. So down we go. Just trying to hold this attitude as best I can. I do want to be on surface velocity right now. And if I start struggling to hold this, of course, that is when we will start our deorbit burn. Or not really our deorbit burn. I would call it a re-entry burn, but it's not exactly that, is it? And yeah, we'll go ahead and grab these flying high sciences. They're actually not as good as it would have been if we had grabbed it in space, but that's fine. We will definitely be in orbit again. No worries about that one. So we are descending here. We're at about 52 kilometers above the surface, and we are beginning to see atmospheric effects. I'm going to close those doors. Not that it matters. It doesn't affect our aerodynamic profile, or lack thereof. But this is okay. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to land with all this. We have a lot of mass here in our fuel tanks, for sure. But we're going to burn off a fair amount of the fuel. I would like to recover the engines, but we don't have to recover the engines. Just trying to hold us retrograde here. And I will probably fail miserably at some point, because we don't have any real aerodynamic control surfaces on this capsule. And it likes to tip over. That's okay. In theory. In theory. We're at about 45 kilometers right now. That is completely fine. Our apoapsis is down to 80 kilometers. Our periapsis at 14. We should be beginning to slow soon. Indeed, we are currently slowing down in terms of our surface velocity, and that's great. Attitude holding is starting to get a little bit suspicious as to how it's going. So we may want to start a burn here soon and call this our re-entry burn. We're at about 40 kilometers right now. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to start a re-entry burn here. And we're just going to try to bleed off a bunch of speed. I don't really care so much about anything other than the speed right now. I want to get us down low enough that if we lose attitude, I don't care. In fact, it would be good for us to lose attitude if we got too much slower. Okay. This is fine. We're slowing down nicely. Now, I'm going to keep some fuel in the tanks for a potential landing burn. We'll see what it looks like. But we're slowing down nicely. I'm going to keep about 500 meters per second in the tank, which is a lot for a landing burn, to be fair. Actually, I'm going to keep burning this. We're going to have somewhere around 300 meters per second in the tank. Maybe even like 100. Like, even that's kind of a lot. I actually want like 10 seconds of burn left. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll keep 10 seconds of burn. So that's shut down. Drogue chutes, stage now. We're actually not low enough for the drogue chutes. We can change that, of course. And I kind of want to. I would not normally, if I can grab it. Please stop. Thank you. We'll bump up that min pressure a bit. There we go. There's one drogue chute. Now, I would normally not deploy these drogue chutes anywhere near this early, right? But I want to make sure that we're going the correct speed at the correct altitude. I'm not deploying the second drogue chute on purpose right now, because I'm a little concerned about speed. I think we might be going too slow when we get to the correct altitude. Yeah, look at our speed right now. We need to be 160 to 250. We're in the range right now. But we need to be at 4,000 kilometers. Now, we're not slowing down that quickly currently, and I'm okay with this. This is exactly what I want for this contract. We just need to get down to the correct altitude. I'm not sure if that's radar or sea level altitude. They're very similar. We'll know. We'll know soon. Okay, there goes the other drogue chute. We're going to be going too slowly. We are now going too slowly. Okay, this is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this drogue chute. And we'll accelerate a bit. Seriously. This drogue chute deployed. Okay. Yeah, that's a tight window. So we're going to have to come back to this then. That's fine. We didn't get this done. That was just a bonus. We'll design a craft specifically for this where we're not trying to recover all this probably. And I'll just go ahead and deploy the main at this point. I'm not concerned about losing the drogue chute. We should still be completely fine. If we look at our current velocity, yeah, we're completely okay. Losing a drogue chute is not a problem. I was trying to get that speed. I was definitely a little early on the drogues. So we will go ahead and touch this on down. We can see here where we're going to be. There we go. And we'll do our landing burn right around now. Wonderful. We'll let our parachutes cushion our tip over, because we expect this. And we'll grab what science we can from the grasslands. Excellent. We can't do all of that, but of course we can grab an EVA report. Hello, water. Excellent. And we will go ahead and recover this. We'll try this again on our next flight. Shouldn't be an issue. Assuming that I have a better re-entry profile, that we're not trying to recover a bunch of stuff, right? That's the assumption there. We want to hit like that 4,000 kilometer. Well, the thing is, that is going to be tight. 4 kilometers is definitely tight. That's okay, though. We'll just sit on it for a while, and if we end up needing to do it and we don't get it accidentally, then we'll probably specifically try to get it. I'm not too concerned about it right now, though. So contract-wise, we need to do a flyby of the moon, and that is definitely something that I'm interested in doing. How much XP did Jeb get? We probably need to have a craft open. Contains locked or invalid parts. Oh, right. It would. That is, of course, because we don't have the radial decoupler here for the contract. Right. So we'll go ahead and save this. Excellent. And how much did Jeb get? Yes, Jeb got enough. Perfect. So, the question now becomes, how do we want to do a moon flyby? I think that we have what we need to do it right here. I would like to have a 2-seater cockpit. That would be nice for this, so that we could have a scientist reset our experiments. That would be a very, very good thing to do. I want to check R&D and see. We've got 87 science. That's not quite enough to get... Do we even have access to a 2-seater cockpit here. I mean, we could, in theory, put in a crew cabin. That is something we could do. It would add weight. Yeah, that's the inline cockpit there. Yeah, I don't think that that's really something that we can do. There is a hitchhiker storage container, but yeah, probably not right now. Okay. So, to that end, I suppose we could, like, store a Kerbal in a... let's see. We don't have access to the external seat either. I was going to say we could store a Kerbal in the service bay. I mean, that would be a convenient place for a scientist, right? He'd be able to reach everything from his chair. That's something I should think about for the future. But I think for now, we're just going to do a simple flyby here. This, I think, should be sufficient DV. I'm going to go ahead and bump up our thrust limiter on the thumpers up to 75. We're going to be aiming for a fairly high apoapsis, so that will be okay. I'm going to save this, and we're going to launch it. I'm a little bit concerned right now about ascent profile, as I often am. But we're going to see how this goes. Now, this is Jebediah in this. And we're going to turn SAS on, double check our staging. Nothing should have changed here in theory. All good. It's pretty cloudy here right now. That is fine. Upper atmosphere winds seem to be okay. And I don't know that. I'm just assuming that they're okay. Jeb is too. Let's go. Excellent. Gonna stay in orbit mode for now. There we go. We're moving pretty quick. We expect this, of course. We're going to just wiggle our way over a little bit here towards the prograde marker. And we're going to sit about here. I want these SRBs burned off. Get out of here, yonder SRBs. They're still burning. They've got another 20 seconds of burn in them. And we're moving pretty quick. This thrust limiter might have been a little ambitious, but I think it's fine. I want the SRBs actually burned off a little bit faster. So we will ditch the SRBs now. And Jeb, I'd like you to see if you can lock on prograde, but I'm going to just slowly turn over there rather than the wild turn that Jeb would probably take. Okay, just lock prograde, Jeb. You can do it. Excellent. So we're targeting an apoapsis height here of what exactly? I mean, I think 100k is probably okay. Should be reasonably fine. We're definitely still pushing out the time to apoapsis, and I'm okay with that. Actually, maybe instead of 100k, we should target like 90. I don't think it matters all that much, but just... there we go. We'll do that. Okay, and now we will go ahead and do a quick circularization. It's technically going to be a little bit more efficient to not do this and just go straight for the moon by timing it, but that requires work, which is, you know, something that I don't like to do. So, instead, we're just going to do this. Now, Jeb cannot lock to the maneuver node. That's okay. And we will just go ahead and make our way over to that maneuver node. Why is this saying that this would require more burn time than we have? Okay, it was because we weren't in space yet. That's fine. So this is a burn time of 1 minute 46 seconds, so that is 30 seconds plus 23 seconds. So no, Jeb, stop this. So we want to burn this at T minus 53 seconds. Jeb. Burn now. But there we go. Jeb was still trying to hold prograde. Thanks, Jeb. Okay, so we'll burn off the remainder of this first stage. And that will get us about halfway there. I have no idea if this thing has the DV that I was looking for. I didn't even look at it. I'm just assuming that we can probably make something work. Yeah, looking at the DV requirements here, I think we can make it work. Let's just hold on the prograde, or not exactly the prograde marker, the maneuver marker. And off we go. I'd prefer it if we were getting fully into orbit with our first stage. We're not quite there yet. We could probably add more fuel to that first stage, given our thrust that we have from the SRBs. That is probably something that we could do, and maybe something that we should do. If this isn't enough DV, then we can just grab some science. Which, actually, I'm not going to grab this yet. We'll grab it later if we have to. Another 30 seconds left in this burn. Oof. But I think, yeah, we've got the DV. We've absolutely got the DV to make this happen. The question is, do I have the skills to make this happen? And the answer is, I believe so, now that we have access to fancy things like maneuver nodes. If only Jeb could hold to maneuver node. But alas, he cannot. He'll be able to eventually. But not just now. This is good enough. Okay. Where's the moon at? The moon is currently here. So let's try burning at the apoapsis, see how that looks. That does get us a flyby. It's probably a dreadful flyby. Let's take a quick look at that. That's actually not terrible. The return trajectory is a little bit awful. I would like to, this would essentially gravity assist us. I would like to potentially not do this. Potentially move when we're burning this ever so slightly here. Ooh. Now that's a return trajectory. What is that periapsis at? That's within the planet. Okay. Probably not great. See about raising that up a bit. I mean, I'd like to be a little bit closer to the moon here to get into in-moon low, which I think is like 50k. This would need to be something along the lines of this, which is kind of spookily low. And then our return trajectory here, yeah, it's a lot. Out of curiosity, what would the DV requirements be if we added a maneuver up here that was just retrograde to bring us back? That's only like 200 meters per second. This is really doable. Okay. We'll do it then. So this node is in about 5 minutes. We will go ahead and align for that. Excellent. We're going to want to burn this at T minus, what is that? 50, or rather 28 and a half seconds, I think. Yeah, 28 and a half seconds. Okay, we'll go ahead and warp towards that. Congrats, Jeb. You get to be the first one to go by the moon. So we will warp forward a little bit here. 2 minutes, 1 minute. I'm going to back off on this warp slightly. Okay. Let's reposition here. Excellent. What did I say? 28 and a half seconds. That's what I said. Okay, so here in about 10 seconds. So right now. I do wish we could lock to maneuver node. I've said that so many times, but it's so useful. Not to worry. Jeb will be able to do that soon enough. Or we could just, put on an unmanned that can do it. That's another thing that we can do. If we want to get a pilot some XP, we can put him in a training craft. Excellent. So this is going to be a pretty decent flyby, actually. It's going to get us both high and low science. We're not going to be able to get all the science that we could because we don't have a scientist on board, of course. Only have a one-seater capsule for right now, but even so, not bad at all. Hello, Moon. We're going to be a lot closer to you quite soon. So we can look at our current trajectory here, and we can see we're really pushing out there. And we just want to adjust this a little bit here. 2 meters per second. Perfect. Ish. Going to push that out a little further. There we go. So what's our return trajectory looking like? Yes, this is what we expected. So then the next burn, of course, this would be 4 days and 1 day. So it looks like our burn is actually going to be like a radial retrograde somewhere around here. So we do a retrograde burn, or we could just do a retrograde burn here. But I would prefer to do like a radial retrograde, which we'd want to burn it somewhere like here, which would push us out to be something along the lines of this. That's not quite the direction I wanted to go. Something along the lines of that-ish. We've got plenty of DV to work with that. That's something that we will do next episode, however. It is time, as I discover I need to cough. Oof, there we go. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we will take Jeb to the moon and back. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.